Hey, I kind of wanted to get into something, so basically, let's just jump right into it. Okay, so here I have a basic signal, sine wave, and it's a regular sine wave. So what I'm interested in is shifting the phase of a signal. So what I have right here is the signal panned hard left and hard right, and that's I'm doing that just in order to make it easier to see on the signal analyzer over here, the oscilloscope. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of the signals and I'm gonna shift it 90 degrees out of phase with the original. So okay, so I just delayed it by a certain amount of time. As you can see, the green signal and the blue signal are out of phase with each other. So, you're thinking, okay, so you delayed it. So now what? Okay, so look what happens when I pitch it up. They don't stay 90 degrees out of phase with each other. As a matter of fact, it looks like each signal has a mind of its own. See, at this point right here, they're completely one signal is completely inverted, so they're completely 180 degrees out of phase with each other. So it's weird. It goes from 90 to 180 and then back to in phase, so they're not in sync. So I've been wondering about this for a long time, and I think that it's important that we cover this just to make strides in sound design as a whole. So what I did is I created a reactor ensemble that pretty much does this, but it's got its flaws. So I'm going to show you the ensemble right now. So again, I've got one signal panned hard left and the other one panned hard right to make it easier to see on the oscilloscope. One signal is going to be green, the other one is going to be blue. So as you can see, they're 90 degrees out of phase with each other, and when I pitch it up, they stay 90 degrees out of phase with each other. So there's a little bit of delay because I had to use a smoother to smooth the sound out, or else it sounds distorted otherwise. But the way I did this was I basically introduced a delay to one signal, and I used a square wave of the signal itself. So I just clipped the signal, I hard clipped it, and I used that square wave to I route that into a timer, and I just delay the signal by the amount of time it takes to hit the zero offset. So it's an interesting little thing that I did, but it basically solves the problem I had earlier. But it's flawed. And the reason why it's flawed is because I can't have a polyphonic signal. So I'm going to show you what happens when I introduce another sound into the mix. Okay, so they're 90 degrees out of phase. I've got this other signal. I'm going to boost the volume. Hold on. And as you can see, it gets very glitchy. And the reason for that is because I'm using a hard clip signal to delay the original signal by a certain amount of time. And as I introduce that second sound in, it changes the shape of the hard clip signal entirely. So it just starts functioning weird, and that's because a hard clip signal is not the same as a regular signal. So that's kind of what went into designing the ensemble, and it solves the problem. So but it's got its flaws. So I'm just going to show you that you can, that's a square wave, shifted 90 degrees out of phase, and that's a sawtooth. So it works with really simple shapes, but you know, it doesn't really get the job done. So the reason why I'm so interested in this is because it could really solve phasing problems as far as mixing, and also you can do some really cool stuff as far as getting a signal 90 degrees out of phase with itself, and sort of you can definitely do some really cool stuff with that, but that's for another video. Basically, yeah, and if you want to go deeper, I really thought this was interesting, but the whole like DNA strand deal and the whole thing, you know, with double helix and stuff, so it's really cool. It's a really interesting concept. So, you know, so there's another thing I want to talk about really quickly, and that's that you can do this on a synth. It is possible to do it on a synth. You can offset the phase and everything. The thing is, I kind of want to do it with samples and outside audio, because it would definitely change the game, you know. So that's basically what I wanted to cover. Like and subscribe if you're interested.